Can you hear it?
Yeah. This feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off to my city, off to my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone.
Merlijn wanted to know if we were going to dance. I was like,
Apparently. And you guys at home, join us.
yes! How does it get better? Welcome, everyone. Yay! To dance with us. Yay! We did it, people. How does it get better? Gosh, my name is Patty Alfonso, and in a minute, I'll let everyone introduce themselves, but we've got highs from Portugal, from Botswana, India, Ensenada, Australia, Netherlands, France. That's Paris and France together. France. We've got people from the US, Colorado, the UK. Thank you all so much. I should probably turn that song off. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. I wonder what we will create in the next, I don't know how long. As I said, my name is Patty Alfonso, and let's just all go around and introduce ourselves really quickly. So go. Start with Katherine and then work around.
Hi, everybody. I'm Katherine McIntosh. I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator. I live in Colorado, and I love dancing.
Quick intros. Go. Who's next?
Hi, I'm Dr. Glenna Rice. I'm in San Francisco, Marin County. Access Conscious Certified Facilitator, Body Class Facilitator, Physical Therapist, and Dancer. And I'm really happy to be on this Zoom with these amazing people. Oh my God, this is so fun.
I was getting you better. I am Merlijn Wolsink from the Netherlands, Access Certified Facilitator 2, dancer, you know, and what else is possible. And I'm really thrilled to be with the girls and, you know, with whatever we're going to create and contribute and dance and play and love in our sweet body.
Hi there, my name is Rachael O'Brien and I'm also a facilitator. I live in Ireland and I am so happy to be here and I can't sit down because I'm too excited.
Hi, everybody. This is Monica. I am also a certified facilitator and a Talk to the Entities facilitator. And I'm originally out of the US, but I'm in Finland right now, which is totally exciting and new for me. So,
wow.
Yeah. And also a dancer and so excited and honored to be a part of this group and this talk tonight.
Yay.
Yay. Hi, everybody. I'm Kalpana Raghuraman, also a facilitator and a dancer and a choreographer. I have my own dance company, and I just adore being with these wonderful people. And what can we create and bring out in the world?
Yay.
Hey, guys. My name is Amy Shine, and I'm Irish, but I am living in Florida. And I love to move. I love anything got to do with movement. So it's my favorite topic. So excited to talk about it today, awesome. Wherever in the world you are.
Yeah. So I'm Patty Alfonso. I'm also an Access Consciousness certified facilitator. I'm the creator of Pole Dancing for Consciousness. That's my favorite form of dance and movement, which I've been moving my body obviously since I came into it. And movement for me has been one of the things that has really, really contributed to creating a greater communion with my body. And that, along with the processes of Access Consciousness and the Access Consciousness body processes, which are amazing. If you're not familiar, if you're watching this in the future, and you're not familiar with Access Consciousness, we may or may not use the clearing statement during this call. So if you'd like more information about that, you can go to theclearingstatement.com. Basically, it's a magic wand where we ask a question and an energy comes up. And then we use our magic wand, which is the statement, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and we can clear the energy to open up to more possibility. So if you want more information about that, you can go to theclearingstatement.com. How does it get better? Gosh, where to begin? Movement has been, I think, a part of all of our lives. And I sort of gathered these amazing beings together at some point last year. And I was like, hey, I have an idea. Let's create this. And so this is kind of the kickoff to this creation that we have been working with, I don't know, maybe since last October. And so it is our,
Oh, there it is.
It is a book.
Show us the baby.
Yeah. Now we updated the cover because I'm a little OCD and it was too pink for me. But
So the only one who has OCD.
Right.
amongst us.
Yeah. Just me. And so the book is called Dancing as the Body of Consciousness, and it launches next week. If you're watching this in the future, it launched already, but hey, and there we are.
Oh my God.
So Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access Consciousness, I asked him a while ago, like, hey, if I were to write a book, like, what title would you recommend? And he gave me that title, Dancing as the Body of Consciousness. And when I perceived the energy of it, it was so expansive and so beautiful. And from that short conversation, 2 books came into existence, and this is one of them. And it's a compilation between all of us and our experiences with dance and the tools that we've used. And so who would like to start? Like, what? There's no plan here. So what do you guys want to create? And if anyone has any questions in your live, please go ahead and put them in the chat. We'd be happy to, look at those in a minute. But anybody have anything popping for them that they want to start with or play with? Yes.
Many things.
Many things.
Go for it, Rachel.
Okay, so I suppose it's so funny. When we started this project, I was in a restaurant in Dublin, and there was this little kid about 16 months sitting right in front of me, and there was a band playing, and there was a cello, and there was a trombone, and this kid got up and she just stuck out her bum like a little duck, and she started like moving her body. And what I started asking is like, when do we shut that down? That joy of movement, that joy of being, that joy of having no point of view of what your body looks like, and I just had this complete space of joy. And what if that's actually who we be? And anything that stops us from that, can we just actually like put it to one side? And as Gary Douglas says, are you having fun yet? Are you having fun yet?
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I would get up, I was like 3 or 4 or 5, and we'd go out to dinner and, with my family. And if there was music playing in the restaurant, I would get up and just dance around. Like there was no, like I shouldn't be doing this, or I look silly, or I look ridiculous. I would just twirl around the restaurant. Everybody would point and laugh at me, but I kind of enjoyed it, So I totally get that. Thank you, Rachel. That's so cool that that's what showed up like when we were, creating this beautiful creation. So what has dance created for any of you, for your bodies, for your business, for your life? Anyone want to share a little bit about that? Yes, Amy.
So, well, I just wanted to share, growing up in Ireland, there's a lot of time for fun, just people go out and drink. And I see in this reality as well, it's like you're only allowed dance when you're drunk, or when, it's like you have to have something in order to allow yourself to let go like that. So I stopped drinking when I was 21, and I ended up in like a 12-step program. And at the time I also met Rachel, and we were also both kind of looking for some way to have fun that didn't involve being in a nightclub. And the 2 of us started to do a lot of like free kind of expressive dance. And it was like there that I found like this place where I could actually have so much joy and fun and freedom dancing, but without having to get like drunk in order to do it, or be out of your head, and actually just be present with your body. And it gave me like the greatest freedom. And I know it did for Rachel too as well. But like just that, like in this reality, a lot of time dance is done from judgment and movement. And like, what if you, like Rachel said, like the kids little girl. Like, what if we could just all be like that little girl or little boy again, where we just dance for fun? You know, it's not because you're trying to look a certain way, or, you know, you're trying to get someone's attention, or it's just like, just for the fun of it, like, because it feels good.
Because your body loves it.
Yeah. Because you don't have to think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. I remember when I was younger, like drinking a lot and then going dancing. And then when I stopped drinking, I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to dance? And it was one of those places where I had to stretch into, you know, just being with my body without all of these other things. I'm curious, because what you said, Amy, about dancing and judgment, and that kind of pinged a little bit, maybe for people who don't, you know, like, what is that? What do you mean, you know, dancing and judgment?
So,
and
like, if you look at, like, I've actually, you know, I wanted to, like, really take hip hop classes for a while, and I went to a class, and there's all younger girls in the class, maybe 16, 17. And I watched the class, like, you know, I was there, like, ready to, like, yeah, let's do hip hop and all. But the girls in the class, the way they were in their heads is that they were in so much judgment of themselves. Like, they were trying so hard to get it right that they weren't having any fun. And it was like such a restriction on their bodies. And even it hurt me to be even in the class, because it was like, what I was looking at, I was like, okay, even like if you go to a class and you go learn the steps, there's like, sometimes a lot of people do it from judgment, like they're not doing it right, they don't look the right way, they don't look like the way the teacher is showing them, you know. And like, if you go out to a club, a lot of it, you know, the dancing is done from judgment. A lot of it's done from what you should look like, as opposed to just enjoying your body, like, and letting it move. And so what if it doesn't move the same way as someone next to you? You know?
As Rachel's like, go ahead, Glenna, you were going to add something there?
I was just going to add in, like, how does your body want to move? Like, it is so much judgment. I do have to say, the dance classes, when I walked into my first ballet, modern dance class, and I think I was 19 in college, it probably was the biggest celebration of my life and living I had ever had to that point. And it was full of judgment, but it was still the most enjoyable thing my body had ever been allowed to do, was doing those classes. And the judgment is a really strange thing, because it stops the possibilities with your body, because you're picking up everyone else's judgments. Teachers are walking around judging you. And it's funny, the only places we allow ourselves to dance is in classes, like a hip hop class you were talking about, Amy, or at the nightclub. But I actually became a better dancer in the nightclub and had more fun in nightclubs after I started taking But we never ask our body how it would like to move. We're trying to look, like, what everything Amy was saying is like looking at other people, what dance movements are appropriate here, what you know, you've got this form and structure of the dance class. And even within those form and structures, you can ask your body how it would like to move with this, and then you can have that joy of movement we're talking about, that Amy was talking about. How fun is that? And it's just a simple question, body. You know, I go to these 5 rhythm classes where it's kind of freeform. There's a lot of judgment in those classes, but it's kind of, I just listen to the music and say, body, how do you want to move to this music right now? And I get out of my head, and my body does crazy fun stuff.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the gifts that I received from pole dancing, because in the classes that I attended, in the classes that I created, there is no routine. I mean, we learn some steps and stuff, but then eventually it's really more about, like, just getting really present with your body and with the music, and allowing the music and your body to have that conversation without the mind. And I've been going to Zumba classes a lot lately. I'm in Florida, and I'm such a dork. I'm always going, like, in the wrong direction, and I'm always, like, with the wrong foot going up. And then when I get it all wrong, right, exactly, I don't do it exactly like the teacher's doing, I just bust out laughing in the middle of class, and everyone's looking at me like they're trying so hard to, you know, do it this way or that way. So awesome. Does anyone have anything else?
I have something. Oh,
everybody just jump in. Let's do it. No.
All in unison. Let's say what we have to say.
Yes.
So it's just kind of like Rachel was talking about just the other day as I was flying here, I saw this little kid who was like, there was a little railing. I was at the airport and he was like hanging off the railing and doing all this stuff. And everybody else was standing very still and waiting in line. And I had that question too of when is it that we stopped enjoying that? And I've been asking for a while, you know, like, what if every movement that I did could be a choice for the joy of it? I mean, I have spent a lot of my life creating some crazy drama and trauma. And I get that part of it is that I have liked the energy of the drama of things. I haven't liked necessarily how sticky things get when you create trauma with people, but that was part of my right, exactly. That was part of the joy of performing. That has been part of the joy of performing for me, that I could be, you know, larger than life. And so I've just been asking, you know, like, if I were to stand up and go across the room and open the door and come back, like, how dramatically could I do that? Or how, you know, like, if every moment to like pick up a piece of paper or whatever was a joy of the movement of it, or even how I'm sitting, you know, there was the possibility of playing with my body 24/7 all the time, with the artistry of being present with my body and the dance of walking down the street, you know. How much fun could I have? Would I be hanging off the railing like the kid, or, you know, but then there's that thing again about the judgment of like, I'm supposed to be a grown up, and there are all of these rules for being a grown up, and there are rules for how you're supposed to move as a grown up, or whatever that is. And I'm interested in that question.
You know, a great question. That was cool. And the drama with you, Monica, is like beautiful. That is like you in your joy. I've seen you move in many classes. It's like you love to move with that energy. And it's sexy to watch, and everyone's pulled to it. So yeah, keep gifting us that. Keep gifting the planet that. But when you don't know, you know, do I want to move this way? And you're wondering, should I hang off the rail? It's like, if I was to hang off the rail on the sidewalk, what would that create? What would it create? And then you can see an energy that it would create. Like maybe it would shock way too many people and it wouldn't be a fun day, or maybe it would surprise so many people you'd have more fun than you ever had, but you can start getting an awareness of what it would create. If you allowed your body to move certain ways or do certain, like we're like, yeah, what would you do? And then you can see the creation, and is that fun for you or not? And then you have choice instead of going into the, I can't do this because. It's like, if I did it, what would it create?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to. Sorry.
You know the way Amy Winehouse says, I said no.
So sometimes I go to the beach and I'll put on my headphones and I'll just dance, and like I'll go up by the boat, but like people will be walking along by the water and they'll see me. And some people will just be like, what the hell, crazy lady. And then other people I'll see halfway down the beach after seeing me, they'll start moving their bodies. So it's really funny how like you just choosing to you show up and move inspires others. That they can actually choose that too.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was at an Irish bar this year, an Irish bar, and there was this great band playing, and nobody was dancing. And me and the girl that I came there with started moving on the side a bit, and the more we started dancing, the more people in the seats, their feet started tapping, their bodies started moving, a few started standing up. You are an inspiration to their bodies to move. There's a couple of questions in the chat. What is this?
I think Merlijn and Katherine, wanted to say something, and I haven't actually seen, but yeah, go on. I'll check the chat too.
Okay.
It's like, I move at the beach all the time, actually, and what you say is exactly like what I've experienced over the last summer. It's like I go out and dance and move and do my press-ups and move my body anyway, you know, and it's always like, first you notice like this awkward energy, you know, it's like people are like, oh my God, there's a like almost naked body moving on the beach. It's like shocking first, but then it's, you know, if I just stay out of judgment and just be that space, usually just pulls them in, and people get like kind of like, oh my God, what's actually possible here? And it's like we didn't want to, like what I just wanted, like about being in the classroom, you know, because I do take ballet classes every once in a while. And when I, you know, got to know about Access and about the tools and about judgment and how that works with energies and your body, you know, your body picking it up and you kind of like putting it in your body as well to create with it. I just noticed the moment I stepped into the dance studio, there was this rigidity coming up. And when I just started using the tools and asking the questions, expanding out, just asking like who does this belong to, I just noticed that I had a totally different dance class than I had for years because I was so entrained energetically to those patterns, like being judged, like having that, you know, projection put on you, but not actually knowing that it's just an energy you can allow to go through as well. So there was just like there was one class that it was just, I mean, my God, like it's actually probably one of the chapters in the book that it's just I could, you know, just recreate my whole reality with my body. And what the greatest gift in that was that I could, looking backward, see how much of the hard work was actually the judgment I put on the magic that I was creating with my body, all the changes, all the muscles lengthening and strengthening, and actually the joints becoming more flexible throughout the whole dance school. It was just, wow, what a marvelous creation. And I thought it was hard work. Interesting point of view. So, yeah, what else is possible? It was like, wow.
Was it actually easy for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was so much easier than I probably made it because, you know, I mean, and a lot of like time and energy and space went into that, but there was such joy and such loveliness as well. And yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, really, like if you're in a dance school and you feel like feeling bad about your body or, you know, kind of like beating your body down, just ask this question, who does this belong to, you know, because you're picking up on so many things and judgments. I'm actually going to go by my old dance school tomorrow. So what else is possible for me to bring the book?
Yeah, and thank you, Merlijn. This is really interesting because I create performances, and I would say dancers judge their bodies like one of the most, then because they have learned that's supposed to create, which is such a big lie. So exactly like you picking up everybody else's judgment. So when I create with dancers who don't know Access, I actually give them the tools and actually show them that it's much more fun and possible if you don't do the judgment. And it's like, it doesn't have to be exactly hard work and difficult. And it just blows their mind and their bodies become so relaxed and happy. And it's actually possible to create without judgment.
Can you imagine having a choreographer like you? Oh my God.
I mean, I was actually happy.
Yeah, I mean, I actually got a feedback from a dancer who has been in London in America, and she told somebody like, I've never worked with a choreographer like Kalpana because she's so much space, and she doesn't judge us, because we've learned that judgment is supposed to be needed. And this whole, I think all of us is like, we are showing the world like, actually you can have fun, and it's the joy that creates and the judgment that destroys your body and movement. So it's like really awesome to have these tools and just create a different possibility in all kinds of ways, be it you dancing on the street or at the beach, be it in a dance class, be it dancers themselves, and what else, right?
And I love as well, you know, as well, when you leave the judgment away, the creation with your body can become even more intense because you don't need to turn it into pain
judgment
anymore. And so it actually, your muscles can grow, like my muscles grow way faster, and they, you know, they change way faster because there's like so much more space for those molecules to kind of like rearrange and shift.
And you have less injuries.
Yes.
And you have less injuries because you actually don't have to put all those judgments into your body, and you don't need to use them to stop you, but you can actually have much less pain and injuries. Yeah, there's more kindness, basically.
Yeah.
And your life as a dancer, you know, your shelf life is really short in this reality.
Oh, yeah. In this reality.
Yeah, it's so much greater when you don't have the judgment. I mean, I'm not like a baby anymore dancing, and I walk into classes and I don't get to them very often, and people are like, where else are you dancing? Because I look great. I look like I'm like, I was in a class 6 weeks ago, and before that it was 4 weeks. You know, and there's nowhere else I'm dancing in classes, but, you know, in these classes, and people are like, what? You know, and age in this reality, I should be starting to have all of the stuff a dancer should have in their body. And I actually dance better with more ease and less pain than I did when I was 25.
Yeah.
And that's spectacular. And there's so much joy in that, to walk into a class at any time and have that joy and ease with your body, to have it move better without training. Like, is that possible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
20-year-old dancers in classes, like looking like the bomb. That's not cool.
And you know, and this is actually part of my chapter in the book. I'm actually not a dancer. I just love to dance, and I love to move my body. And I find in my life, in my everyday life, it creates so much for my body and for my life when I move my body, especially if I'm doing like a lot of work on the computer. My body's like, whoop, we got to go. Let's go move, you know? And so I would love to play with, what does movement create for you? If anyone would like to kind of play with that question. Katherine, yeah.
Hi, everybody. So, you know, it's so cool, like, because we're talking about dance, you know, whether it's formal dance or informal dance or whatever, but it's also, I look at it as like the dance of life, like and a lot of you have mentioned and alluded to it, like every day is an adventure and a movement. And, you know, Merlijn, you said it perfectly. It's like when you stopped in training to the patterns, right, of how you thought your body should move. And so I look at like movement as this way of, whether it's driving in your car and you're literally like moving through your vehicle differently, whether you're on your computer and you start to move your body, every single movement, you know, Glenna, with your question, you asked like, how does the body want to move today? Or how does the body want to move to this piece of music? When we create a different movement, whether it's taking a left instead of a right in our car, we literally create new neural pathways in the body that allow us to see our life differently. And so we might be talking about like formal or informal dance, but we're also talking about like the movement of moving through your life and allowing different patterns and possibilities to show up. And when you do that, no matter what you're doing, your life becomes greater. Your options for your life become greater, and you see more space and more possibility. And so I'm not a trained dancer. I ended up dancing in a professional company for a year because I just liked to move my body. And at 28 years old, I did my first ever formal performance. And I had somebody who was the film director come up to me after the thing, and he said, you were the best dancer on the stage. And everyone else was a professional formal dancer. I hadn't been in a company yet. I got in the company after that because of that performance. And it was the being willing to be me and express how I know my body wanted to move without trying to fit it in. And so I think it's like this conversation of movement is such a bigger conversation about being you and actually expanding it into the molecules of your life that goes so beyond doing your daily routine, so to speak. So that's what lights me up about movement.
I love that. Yes, Rachel, go for it.
Can I just say, this is the most phenomenal piece for me, and Glenn has talked about it, Merlijn, we've all talked about it. I'm also not a professional, trained dancer. I started Irish dancing at age 2, and I teach Pilates, and I teach, a lot of my clients tend to be coming in now in their 50s and 60s. And tonight I just taught a beginner class to 8 men, and after 3 weeks, they've got mobility in their spine. They understand the movement of their lumbopelvic area. They're starting to feel fluid. You know, and I just looked at the 8 of them on the floor tonight, because I stick on some relaxation at the end, you know, and they were like, this is really about us being the space where it's like the body loses its judgment, so the shoulder starts to move a bit more. And the jaw starts to move a bit more fluidity through, and everything starts to shift and move, you know? And that whole fluidity and movement is effortlessness, where it's just it's about the space that you be, and that's all of us on this call.
Rachael, wow, both of you guys, thank you so much. I noticed, because I had been traveling a lot, and you know, Gary Douglas says, use it or lose it. And that's I think kind of what Rachael was talking about. Like, I had been traveling consistently a lot over the last couple of years, so I hadn't had a chance to get into movement a lot. And then when I got back into doing Zumba and into pole dancing, I noticed my body was a little stiffer and not quite as, and that was just my own, because it had been so long. And the more I continued, then the looser my body got. And the more I kind of played with all of the different movements and moving in a different way and stretching in a different way, then my body kind of bounced back, right? I don't know if those are the right words for but the body has this amazing capacity to shift and change. And like, there isn't the solidity with the body that we are kind of taught in this reality. And we have to include our bodies, whether it's in our life or moving our bodies, or just include your body in the conversation, which is part of what was inspiring to me about creating this book, to include your body and all of that, and not forget your beautiful, sweet little body. And that question, asking your body, like, what would you like to do? How would you like to move today? Monica, are you raising your hand or just caressing your beautiful hair?
Just the idea that you'd have to even ask to include your body when dancing is for your body.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How involved we are.
That's
And I look at like how quickly the body actually can change.
Yes.
Like
Oh my
literally
Oh my God.
instantaneously, when we're willing to go, well, how do you want to move today? What do you eat today? How do you want to play today? It's like when we involve the body as, a part of our creation, the body contributes instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we forget sometimes to go, hey body, what do you want to like play with today? And it's amazing how quickly, like I watch all of you that are on here, like how quickly all of our bodies change when we're willing to let go of any point of view of what it can or cannot do. And so that goes for dance. Like anyone that's on here that's not a dancer but desires to have more movement, starting to include it, you'd be so surprised what your body can do when you don't have a point of view about what it needs to look like or how it shows up, which is amazing.
Totally. And that's one of the things really that I really truly adore about the tools of access consciousness, is the way that the tools be with the body in such a different way of including the body. Not just like, we have to work out 3 days a week and we have to do it for at least 20 minutes, or we have to dance, or we should eat 6 square meals a day. Like, it's not about that at all. It's such a different way of being with the body, where you really truly include your body in that conversation. Did someone else raise? Yes, Merlijn and
both of us. Well, it's like we get so caught up in technique, like as well, me being around in the professional world. And I always wondered, it's like, what is different about certain dancers that just captivates me beyond their technique? And that's like how they be with their bodies, like really kind of like that, being in communion, being that, just having like not so much judgments in their world. There might be some, and when you are like just a little more space, there's already so much more possibilities that actually, can contribute to asking your body, hey, how about 20 kilos today? It's like, I play with that. There's just so much more fun when you go beyond.
yeah.
Needs to be included.
Kalpana, did you want to add something? And then we do have a question in the chat.
Yeah, actually 2 things. One is also where if you are willing to have so much fun with your body and just allow your body to take you instead of your mind taking your body, you show other people, you allow other people to choose it as well. And it's really like when you're sitting in the metro and you're just like being with your body instead of like sitting there like this, or in the dance studio. I have really seen that we have so many points of view, like how long it takes, how difficult it should be. I did a show a few weeks ago, after 4.5 years, where I have to hang in the air for 5 minutes. And I had 2 rehearsals simply because there was no other possibility. And I just asked my body, hey, can we do this? How are we going to do it? And no, everybody's like, oh, fuck, this piece is so hard. How are you going to do it? I'm like, well, my body wants to do it. And it was so much more easy than when I made it 4.5 years ago. And I was still like, thinking it. So it's really like where you're willing to be that space for yourself. Your body's, you ask your body. And then I see how when you're doing that, other people are able to also get it much quicker. When I'm choreographing, I am able to get people to choose something that they think they cannot choose, or it'll take a long time to choose. But if you are willing to have that no point of view, then the other bodies go, finally. So your body is informing other bodies what they can choose as well, and what maybe the being doesn't, like the mind doesn't want to choose, but the body can actually be like, hey, I'm going to choose this. So I wonder what our bodies can tell other bodies, that it hasn't been allowed or been willing to say it, and this is really like also where bodies start to talk to bodies, a bit like what Katherine was talking about as well.
That's cool.
So the question was, Janet, I think I'm saying that correctly, says, I noticed that my body is very interested and excited about movement and all kinds of creative expression during my recovery after cancer. What questions can I ask when I and my body feel like moving or where I and my body feel like moving or doing things we have not done in what seems like a gazillion lifetimes?
My first thing is, what if time isn't real?
Yeah.
You can have that moment in that lifetime or this lifetime where you did that activity with you instantly right now. Our bodies do not forget this stuff. Like I was saying with, how rarely I get to a class now. And this is a pretty advanced ballet class. Actually, still challenges me all the time. And there isn't that reality. I don't miss a beat. I walk into that class. I walk in late sometimes without even a warm up and just go right up to the bar, and I am there. And my body's actually greater all the time because I talk to it. I always ask if it wants to go. I mean, that's a great thing to ask. If you've got activities you're thinking you want to do, it's like, body, would you like to do that today? And let it tell you the day that it wants to go, when it wants to go, and the thing it wants to do, and allow it to be the one that motivates you or gets you there. And when it says yes, don't ignore it. Ever. Every time my body said, let's go to a class dance, like, we haven't danced in ages and we've been on a plane for 2 days and I'm exhausted. What are you talking about? It's like, no. I'm like, okay, we'll go. Oh my God. Greatest classes I ever do. Or if it's with running or swimming or some of the other things my body loves to do, when it wants to do it and you allow it, it's greater than you can imagine. Always. Every single time it shows up for me that way. And I walk out of that class or from that run, I'm just like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
We're smiling and giggling. Yeah.
Some of the ways for people who, maybe aren't so familiar with the tools of access consciousness, what Glenn is saying about, you ask your body, what would you like to go? And then you can actually follow the energy to what is going to create more. And one of those tools is the tool of light and heavy. So if it's light and expansive, and for me, it shows up like this and giggly and laughing or whatever, light and expansive, then yes, follow the energy. If it's heavy or contraction, then don't do that. If it's heavy, if it's light, it's true for you. If it's heavy, it's not true for you. We have another question here. So my brother, Yvonne says, my brother is now interested in tools of access consciousness. He has chosen ALS since 16 years ago. I suggested to ask his body how it would like to move every day. He moves his eyes at the lids and the brow to communicate. They say it is about voluntary muscles. What other questions could he ask to get other areas of his body moving again?
Wow, that's quite a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tricky little one. I worked with many patients in the years with that. And what a gift that he has questions, like, because there's no one else out there that I don't know of anyone that's actually asked questions with ALS like that before. Mm-hmm. So thank you. I would suggest some of the access body processes to start opening up his body. And you can find out more if you don't know what I'm talking about online. There's a whole body. There's Facebook has some access to the body, I believe, and then go to the accessconsciousness.com website and look up the body, and you can find more about those classes. There's one day classes or 3 day classes, that you could run some, and you may know them already. So I would start with the one that everybody starts with in the foundation, MTVSS.
Or start with bars as well.
Bars, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, the bars. And that question of what body movements would his body like to do? Brilliant. It might take a minute for all that to start coming together. So those movements, don't stop asking that question. You're kind of a pioneer with that. So how exciting.
Yeah, I wish I had those questions when my grandfather had ALS like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Different reality, totally. And
totally.
And then you do want to uncreate and destroy everything you bought about the disease, the future of the disease, the progression of the disease, what's supposed to show up, and let go of all of that information, so you can create something different that he'd like to choose.
You could also ask, when did he decide, or when did his body decide to stop moving, to stop having voluntary movements?
Yeah.
And where did he give up, like, how do I say that? Give up, like, where did he give up his voluntary choices?
Yeah.
So what became involuntary, and see if that changes something as well.
Very cool. Any other comments? Yes, Rachel.
So I just wanted to add this. We did a class in Copenhagen, myself and Crystal, and the class was called So You Think You Can't Dance, and it was a twist on So You Think You Can Dance. And we had like people show up that hadn't danced for like 15 years. And, we ran through, there's a book, Sex is Not a 4-Letter Word, Relationship Often Is. And it talks about the 5 elements of intimacy. And we ran through the elements of, like, there may be resistance come up, and keep asking, hey, body, if I was holding you in regard, how would you like to move? And be an allowance too of, it might start small. It might be like, we had someone in the corner and we pulled out an actual, we had this rail that had like a sheet on it, so that they could actually dance private for a while, because this was a new space for them. So to be an allowance of, be gentle with yourself and allow yourself to open up in the smallest of ways. And like, what blew my mind at the end of that class, 3 people that just stood there for the first 2 songs where we were pod and pockin' is the point where you created that you can't dance because your mother said you looked stupid, or your friend said you have a funny move or a funny leg, or all these things that we lock in. So like, just please be an allowance and honor your body. And if you were trusting you truly, how would you move? And to see 3 people that had given up on moving, and to see them smile, and to see within the space of a very short time that this rigidity that someone talked about earlier on the chat, this rigidity had actually completely, not a little bit, completely left their body, where their hands were like on water and their chest was moving, and they just had this like, I look in wonder at what it created, I like, because we have no clue what your body's capacities are.
Right.
So don't, like Gary always says, don't give up, never give in, and never quit. So what do you really want to choose with your body? And if you weren't quitting on you, would you keep showing up?
Woo! Potent.
Can I just?
Yeah, I got goosebumps on that one, girl. Yeah. Who wanted to? Somebody said something.
Well, Glenna, did you have something? I am so grateful for this conversation, and I've been looking for a while at, like, the joy of this life is, that we get to have a body. We have this partner in this journey, the being or the spirit, or however you want to look at it, gets to play with the body. And the body can be such a friend. And there's so much in this world. There's so much, I would say, hatred of the body that is taught.
Really?
And, and it's like, but when I listen to my body, it takes care of me in ways that I could not have even imagined. nor would I even always ask for those things. My body is often willing to be kinder to me than I am, and puts up with all sorts of stuff, you know? And it's just really cool as the more that I walk into befriending my body, just like Rachel was talking about, having that honoring and allowance, the more that my life really opens up, and this joy of this gift of having a body, getting to play with things, getting to hug people or eat delicious things or dance around or whatever, shake my head, whatever it is, you know, all of that gets to expand, and my body teaches my being and my being teaches my body. It's this lovely exchange.
Yeah, I love that. I was listening to Monica, and I was looking at all of you and perceiving the ways in which our lives, and of course, I mean, I've read the book and I've read everyone's chapter, but perceiving the way all of our lives have changed and expanded due to including our body in our lives, including our body in our creations. And so beautiful. Thank you all so much. Anyone have we've got a few minutes to the top of the hour, any final remarks or, yeah, Merlijn.
Well, I just, this sense of what you just talked about, Monica, is like I can have like a grumpy day or a grumpy moment in my head sometimes, and then there's always my body buzzing and overriding. and the thing about bodies as well is like our bodies are never still. Every molecule moving all the time, whether we walk, whether we sit down, whether we sleep, there's always movement. Like I was just working on my computer a lot yesterday, and there was so much going on, there was so much energy, and I just noticed my coughs just kind of ramp up, and my all the molecules were just moving. You get that, like there's just so much energy in your body, and it was just such a gift that, oh my God, to receive that, like, my God, my body is just so alive and it's moving and it's creating all the time. And it's like the more judgments I drop, really, the more, the freer and the more alive my body becomes as well. And it's just such a gift. What else can we acknowledge that where our bodies are already moving, where we don't actually think they are, when they actually are.
Moving, breathing, hearts are pumping, blood is circulating. There is so much being created in our bodies just as we sit here. And to me, that gives me so much gratitude for my body to perceive everything that she's being as I'm just sitting right here. I'm so grateful when we wake up in the morning. I'm like, yay, what grand and glorious adventure can we have today? So thank you for adding that piece, Merlijn. That was beautiful.
Well, thank you, Patty, for creating this. And
yay, Patty!
Amazing.
God,
thank you.
Thank you all for saying
a big woot for you, man. Woo!
One for Patty. 1, 2. Woo! There you go.
I just got tickled through the internet. How does it get awesome? Thank you all so much for saying yes, for playing with me, for playing with each other, for playing with this amazing creation. I'm so grateful. And
Can you hold it up one more time?
Yes, here we go. Woo! And there we are.
Yeah, and that book, I've read most of bits and pieces of everything, and it is full of incredible stories, incredible tools. Many of the stuff we talked about, and so much more in our stories and how we got into dance. I teared up and was amazed with everything I read. All you amazing authors put into that, and I'm so grateful. And what is this going to create? Who's going to love to read this and get so much out of it and enjoy our stories? I'm so excited.
Yay!
Yay!
It is for sure jam-packed with
People are asking.
Asking?
Where can they find the book?
Oh, well, it'll be available. What month is it?
Tuesday.
It'll be available
on Tuesday,
April 25th, and we'll let you all know on Facebook when to go out and get it. And for those of you listening into the future, you know, you probably have it already, because I've got plans for this little Zoom video. The book comes with a secret bonuses site where there's more tools and more videos and more fun stuff. I mean, we really jam-packed it. So I'm super, super excited to finally let this baby out into the world. It's been, you know, in my universe, in all of our universes. Hey! So I was saying something else and I forgot. Oh my God. How does it get better? Thank you all again. Any last words from anyone else?
Well, somebody asked a little bit earlier about any of us teaching any dance classes among our other Access classes, and I'm wondering if we can just all include something that goes out in the email so everybody can get all of that information.
Yes, yes. When I send out the replay, I'll definitely put something on there. I think we all have, you know, I know Merlijn does some classes on movement, and Rachael and Amy and Kalpana is, you know, choreographer, and she has the Joy of Movement, and Monica has stuff, and Glenna, we all have stuff out there.
We all have amazing stuff.
I'm going to jump in. Yes, I have an evening class the third night of the foundation in Paris. Class, so you think you can't dance? So we have 7:30 to 9:30.
Better. Yes, we'll put some information from everyone when I send out the replay. Anything else?
Thank you for being here,
you,
all of you.
Wow, thank you, Patty, and thanks to all the bodies.
Yes.
Yay! Thank you.
How does it get better? Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye,
Have an amazing day, wherever you are in the world. Bye.
Bye.